Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jay, and in this video I'm going to compare the Canon RFS 18 to 45 millimeter lens versus the 18 to 150 millimeter lens, so you know which one is best for you and your needs. Alright, so let's say you're in the market for the new Canon R10, which for just the camera body goes for about $980 US. However, you need a lens to use on the camera, and if you buy the camera as a kit with one of the kit lenses, you save some cash, which is why I recommend buying it as a kit. You could also use the RF to EF lens adapter, as you can see here. Now, you can pick up these older EF lenses for much cheaper than they used to cost, so that is a great option out there, considering there's very few options as far as affordable RF glass goes. So keep that in mind. You can use this adapter and EF lenses. Now, as you can see here on BH Photo, you can get the R10 with the 18 to 45 millimeter kit lens for about $1,100 US, or you can go with the 18 to 150 millimeter kit lens for about $1,380. Is that extra $280 worth it? I say yes. So for starters, we have a lens focal range of 18 to 45, which is effectively 29 to 72 millimeter, whereas on the 18 to 150, we have a 29 to 240 millimeter, which is a gigantic difference. And that extra telephoto range is a game changer, in my opinion, as far as photography goes, you know, just reach and video and portraits and all these things. It's such an advantage having that extra focal range. Also, at 18 millimeter, the max aperture of the 18 to 150 lens is one stop faster at f3.5, which will allow your ISO to be lower and will give you more separation from the background at the minimum focus distance in particular. All right, guys, so looking at these lenses in my hands, you can see just the difference in size. You know, the 18 to 150 is much larger and it zooms a lot more. This lens is super compact, but when you open this lens up to the usable range, which is there, you can see it grew significantly in size, and it's now sort of almost the same size as the 18 to 150 when it's at 18 millimeter. Now, of course, if you zoom the 18 to 150, you could see how much it extends, like so. Now, just quickly looking at the top of the lenses, we have a 49 millimeter filter thread versus a 55 millimeter filter thread. So just zooming it here, looking at the front, and here on the back, you can see it's mostly plastic there. Pretty small rear lens element. You know, here's the 18 to 135. See, it's a lot more glass on the front there, much larger glass elements. And looking at it from the back, it has a really large piece of glass that sticks out quite far. It has like those little plastic guards there to protect it. All right, so I'm just gonna mount these up to the R10 here. Just gotta line up that red right there, twist that on, and here's what it looks like with the 18 to 150 on there. And you can see, zooming it out, you know, and they both have the same nice buttery smooth manual focus ring, which can be custom configured. So this can be configured for a bunch of stuff inside the camera if you don't want to use manual focus. You know, that's pretty much it. They're just very basic lenses, no switches, no buttons, nothing. They do have image stabilization, both of them, which is very nice. So we're looking at 23.9 ounces with the 18 to 150 millimeter lens on there. All right, now let's mount up the other lens. See what that weighs in at. And we're looking at 18 ounces. By the way, guys, BH Photo was kind enough to send me this gear for review. I'm just like borrowing it. They loaned it out to me. So if you could do me a favor and check out those links below the video if you're doing some shopping. BH Photo is amazing. They have an unbelievable return policy, and they also have some other options out there. Student discounts. You can save tax by using their special cards and stuff. I really appreciate you guys checking that out. Thanks. All right, so just scrutinizing some of these photos here in the lab, I just want to show you here on the right, you could see the XF data up top. We have the 18 to 150. Over here, we have the 18 to 45. Now, these are both at max aperture. So the 18 to 45 is at f4.5. And you can see the corner sharpness is really good. Lens is performing well. Now the 18 to 150 millimeter is at f3.5 because it has the faster max aperture. And you can see the sharpness and everything is looking really good on both lenses, except there is a little bit more background separation here. You can see these bokeh balls are just a little bit bigger and the background is just a little bit blurrier. It's hard to tell at this distance, but it is just a little bit. And I can see that the 18 to 150 millimeter lens is just a little bit sharper. All right, so I got fairly close here. So we're at 45 millimeter on the left and we're at 50 millimeter on the right. And again, the advantage of the one stop that the 18 to 150 millimeter lens has is pretty significant. So this is at 5.6 on the right, and on the left we are at 6.3. And again, you could see the bokeh ball rendering. You see how much larger they are? That's that faster aperture. Now it is just a little bit zoomed in more on this right side, so that does give it a little bit of an advantage. I apologize, they're not both at 45 millimeter, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what they look like because they're relatively the same at this focal distance, except the 18 to 135 is just a little bit sharper. You could see it in the paper right here, and they're both at ISO 100, so it's not that. It's just a sharper lens across the board. All right, let me show you a couple more here. All right, so now we're just looking at the max focal length. So we're looking at 45 on the left, and we're looking at 150 on the right. And you could just see, again, the background separation's awesome. Looking at the dollar bill, you could see just very, very sharp on the 18 to 150. It's also very sharp on the 18 to 45 here. Looks excellent at this focal range. All right, so one other thing I wanted to show you here in the lab is the distortion. Now, I have the lens profiles enabled for these lenses, so if I uncheck it, you could see the distortion there. Now, the 18 to 45 suffers from significantly more distortion and vignetting, as you can see here. All right, so here's the 18 to 150 millimeter at 18 millimeter, and look at the distortion here. You see how it's significantly less? All right, so here we are at the minimum focus distance at 18 millimeter. So again, the 18 to 150 does have an advantage. You can get a little bit closer from the minimum focus distance, but also again, that faster max aperture. And if you look here, you can see the bokeh balls are a little larger, and also you can see how the quarter is sharper. So you can see both the sharpness advantage and the background separation advantage. All right, so we're looking at 45 millimeter on the left at f6.3. That's as close as I could get to the quarter, and it was focused on the quarter. So you can see just how soft it is at the minimum focus distance, the 18 to 45 millimeter lens. And I tried manually focusing it as well, and I couldn't get it any better than this. And that's just as close as you can get and still have the autofocus work. On the right, I was using the 150 millimeter lens, and you can see just how much closer you can get as far as magnification goes. Now the lens was actually further away from the quarter when I took this shot, but because of that 150 millimeter range, I was able to zoom in, and effectively get much closer. All right, so here's the 18 to 45 millimeter lens, and this was at f8, but I just wanted to show you some of the background separation you can get. And, quality sharpness. This lens is, it does produce some really good images. It's just not as good as the other lens, It doesn't mean that this is a horrible lens or anything, though. So just scrolling through here, you can see I got some pretty good separation on this Daisy or whatever that's called. And here's just one of the bike. Show the background blur there. Here's one of Jace, just on the couch. Not too bad. Quick snapshot. Here's one of Layla using the flash inside. And just a lab test shot. Here's one of a pepper, some tomatoes. Now here's the neighborhood cat. Now I wanted to show you the cat because I took a bunch of cat pictures with the other lens as well. But because of that higher focal length, the shots, in my opinion, came out way better. Now this was at 45 millimeter f8. They do look really good. I mean, they're nice and sharp. I could have had the lens stop down to f6.3 and it would have been a little bit blurrier in the background. But I was going for maximum sharpness here. So I stopped it down to f8. And you can see they look pretty good. Here's another one of Jace. And this is at f5. So I was going for background blur here at 24 millimeter. And these shots look pretty good. Now here's just a few at work showing that depth of field fall off. A couple of the batteries here, just some wires. This is at 18 millimeter. It's a pretty wide angle shot. Now check this out. It's this same exact shot pretty much at two different focal lengths. So here's 18 millimeter and here's 45 millimeter. All I did was, zoom in and back up a little bit to make it the same type of shot, and that telephoto compression is really cool. That's what I want to show you there. Just looking down at the tire, you can see the background separation's looking pretty good here. And then shooting up towards the sky, again, you could see I focused on the alarm here, and the sky's looking pretty good. Out of focus, not bad. Now here was just a sunset. The sky was really pretty, and I took a few shots here. So this is just wide open, 18 millimeter. Looks pretty good. Now here I just zoomed. Here's 18, and here's 45, and then here's 34. So now the 18 to 150, I just wanted to show you the range here. So here's 18 millimeter, and again, the XF data is up here, guys, if you want to look in case I don't say what it is. So here's 18 millimeter. Now here's 86 millimeter. Here's 150 millimeter. So that's zoomed in all the way. Here's 95 millimeter. And you could see the sharpness is just excellent on these photos. Now here's 18 millimeter inside this awesome deli I found the other day. And here's just some cookies on the counter and stuff. And I love the minimum focus distance on this lens because you can get so close to stuff. Look at this. I mean, those cookies look killer. So here's the name of the deli, Tres Leches Deli and Bakery. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. It's actually in Walden, New York, if you guys are in the area. Here's the sandwich I got. I got an Italian combo. Look at how killer that looks. So this is at 50 millimeter f5.6, and you can just see that background separation is excellent. Sandwich is looking good. It's got some nice 3D pop to it. Detail is all there. Very impressed. Now here's one at 150. Just zoomed in on this sign here in front of this church. And you can see they just painted this, it looks like, so the color is really popping. Detail looks excellent. Now here's just another range test. So here's 18 millimeter, here's 50 millimeter, and here's 150 millimeter. So again, looking at this, you could just see that 150 millimeter zooms all the way into the very tippity top of the tower here in the church, and you can get a closer look, see just how sharp it is. It's fantastic. For a kit lens, this is really good, I gotta say. Here's just another one of the sign. I just wanted to show you how you can get that background separation with the leaves. Now, here is actually a multi-exposure I just took with the R10. I was playing around. So this is actually 3 different shots, and the camera blended it together. Thought that was kind of cool. And here's an HDR, an auto HDR. So the camera took 3 shots, blended them together, and here are the HDR results. Now, those cat photos I was telling you about earlier, so just take a look at this. So this is Ollie, and you could see the ISO is a little bit high. It was at 6400, but these shots came out really good, I think. Now 150 millimeter, you get a nice background separation compared to the other shots. Now the background is a little bit different at this angle, but here's another one of the cat. And so the cat didn't move. All I did was go from aiming down a little bit, and then I lowered the camera, so now I'm actually looking up a little bit at the cat. So I got like a completely different shot just by changing my position. But again, the cat didn't move. Now again, the cat didn't move. All I did was stand up and aim down off my porch, and I was able to get this style portrait of the cat. And I was pretty happy with the results. Now here's Zach Mack sculpture. And I take this a lot just for detail shots. It's really good for showing off the detail of a lens. Now, a faster aperture would have blurred out some of this background, the busy background there, but this is the best this lens can do. Now zoomed in a little bit more there, just a little closer, and there's just a vertical. Here's another one of the cat. And just look at the eye. I mean, it's really good, nice and sharp. A couple snapshots of the kids just to show you, again, that background separation you can get. The higher focal length lens. This is just a cool Sullivan County like monument thing. They're all over the county. They look pretty good. Now I just went down to the Basher Kill quick, and again, check this out. Background separation. It's pretty awesome. A couple of quick snapshots. Look at this worm. It's crawling on this branch. I've never seen one of these things in the wild before. So cool. It looked fake. Here's another view of it. Look at this thing. Isn't that incredible? It was probably like 3 inches long. It was pretty big. He's a lot faster than I would expect.
Yes, he is. He's speedy.
I was pretty happy with that. Looks really good. Another landscape. Here's a pano. I actually put the camera into scene mode and then selected panorama. And it came out really good. It's stitched together like flawlessly. I don't see any issue. This was probably like 10 shots total, and it just stitched them all together perfectly. Here's another one. Nice looking scene. Here's one of Layla. Now this is where this lens really shines. Like I said, I was showing you those cat photos, but look at these portraits. These are fantastic. And you just can't do that with 45mm unless you have a super fast 45mm lens, like a 1.4 or something like that, but they're not available. So right now, the only thing available is this 18 to 150. So you want to get cool shots like this with your R10 or R7. Here's another one. Pretty happy with that. Here's one of Jace. Sun was blasting him in the face, but here's another one, Layla with her hair down. You can see, looks amazing. Another one. Super impressed. I really appreciate you guys checking out my video, and I really hope it helped you make an informed decision on which kit lens to get because there's so few options available. So thanks again. I really appreciate it, and I will catch up with you guys next time. Have a great day. Take care.